Welcome back to Showtime on Trust TV. Our guest today is one of the freshest faces redefining stand-up and skit comedy in the capital city. He's witty, he's bold, and he's very relatable. Please help me welcome Funny Razaq in the studio. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Welcome. You have a very beautiful smile.
Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. So, without, because of time, we're just going to go straight into the questions. The first question I have for you today is, I don't know if you've been asked that before, but
Okay.
I'd really like to know. I've been dying to know.
Okay.
When did you realize that you were actually funny?
I started being funny from my primary school days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, spontaneously, even in situations where things are not meant to be funny.
Oh,
I just
so you
see
were
myself.
like the clown.
I was the clown.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I was still applying wisdom then because of those primary school teachers.
So now you decided to let all of that go.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're the man now.
Yes.
You can do anything.
Yes, so I started from primary school, the days of clubs and societies. I moved down to secondary school, but I just kept on seeing myself doing it. You know, I was doing it like it wasn't something so serious. Yeah, until and then I decided to take it serious.
Oh, nice. So does that mean that comedy was always the plan, or because maybe something didn't work out for you, you decided, you know what, let's just take this to the stage?
No, not like something didn't work out for me.
Okay.
Yes, I've always wanted to
Be a comedian.
be a comedian.
So you were not part of those kids that were saying, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. So if they lined you up for career day, you would say, oh, I want to be a comedian.
If you lined me up for a career day, I would say I want to be an actor.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
an actor, but not the serious acting.
Okay.
You know, if you put me maybe if you give me a role for a doctor or an engineer, like a serious role, I might not be able to deliver.
Okay.
I was just in this role of being funny.
Okay.
Yeah, even in primary school, I was given a role for a drunk, spontaneously, you know. As far back as primary, imagine me going for a role of a drunk.
Yeah.
So it had always been my thing. I wanted acting, and then gradually I said, okay, I could do comedy.
Okay. So did you study theater arts?
I studied theater arts.
Okay. So how did theater arts impact in your comedy career? Like, was there anything that it taught you about being a comedian? Because I know we do not have any course that studies, for us to study comedy in Nigeria.
Exactly.
So did it help?
Yes, it helped. It helped. Stand-up comedy doesn't really require much stage paparazzis and all that. It doesn't really. But how about a stage play, a comic stage play? So it helped in that aspect.
Yeah.
So I think theater art broadened me on stage plays. My stage hands, how will I, get through that and all that. And then lastly, projection. Okay. That's what we call projection.
Okay.
And then carrying your audience along.
Yes.
The suspense, everything about that, was theater that taught me that. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So coming down to, the realness of it, we know that comedy in Nigeria is tough.
Very tough.
It is tough. It is not
tough.
a walk in the park.
Yes.
So what were your biggest challenges when you were starting out, the early days, maybe from the times of theater performances, what were the biggest challenges and how were you able to overcome them? So just take it that, okay, maybe I want to venture into comedy.
Okay, first is, I started comedy before going to school.
Okay.
Yeah, I started comedy before going to the university. And then one of the most difficult one of the challenges I faced then was getting to prove myself. you know, in presence of the big shots.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not really easy playing events until one of those 1, 2, 3 persons gets to see you,
Yes.
and then they know you can do it. Else you just come when there are still 5 persons. You know, they'll put you on stage, do your thing when there are still 5 persons. So nobody will notice you. You get, nobody will notice you. So coming to shows when these big shots are already there, just so you can make a statement, you can prove a point that yes, I can do this. And then it's just like it's in stages.
Yeah.
So if you're meant to if you were performing when it's 6 p.m. when there were just lesser crowd, and then these persons have been able to, yes, this guy, he can do it, and then you know, the CV builds up to 7 p.m.
Oh, not even 8. I was about to say 8 p.m. Oh, okay.
The CV builds up to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And gradually, you're, you know, all this time where you're still trying to prove a point. Nobody knows you. You can come to a show where you are not invited just because you want to prove a point. So it's very stressful. You pay your transport, come to the venue. You might get to the venue, nobody will allow you enter.
Exactly. Yeah.
You understand? Nobody will allow you enter. So you have to wait, try, you know, beg, please, I can do this. And then they'll tell you, once you go inside, we don't want to see you, you know, just go straight to the backstage. And then when you get to backstage again, you still have to beg the person that is in charge of the backstage that, please, let me just do 1 minute. Let me do. And now when you go on stage for that 1 minute, you need to prove a point within that 1 minute. So when you go on stage and then you can't prove a point within that 1 minute, it's another issue. So it's very, 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 very stressful, because as someone who is starting, you might not be able to know how to manage your timing yet. You need to get to a stage to know time management. You know, it's part of the discipline. And then if they tell you go on stage 1 minute, you go on stage. Maybe your joke, you need to build momentum to get to that point where to crack people up. Before you know, 1 minute, and then they're already cutting you short. Hitting the mic, or you know, giving you signals. Go down, and then you go off stage.
Of the crowd, maybe you weren't able to get them, and they're like, please go, just go.
Yes, that is
I think that's one of the toughest hits, right? Because even when sometimes I know I've been in shows where maybe the hype man is like, oh no, you know, it's time, and then the crowd is like, no, we want him. And then, but imagine when the hype man is not even the one telling you to leave. It's the crowd saying, no, just go, just go.
Yeah, so it's not easy. It's not easy. That is why I said, if they give you 1 minute, if they give you 1 minute to do your thing, your first impression really matters. If you're going on stage for 1 minute, your good evening, your hello, your hi should be catchy. You understand? You should be able to get their attention. And then when it is 1 minute, maybe you're heading somewhere. You know, if you get their attention and then you're heading somewhere, you might take more than 1 minute to get there. This audience now will be the one to say, no, leave him to land. And then you're landing. They applaud you, and then next time when you're coming, the person who is there would know that this guy, he needs more than 1 minute to deliver. And then gradually you keep getting that time. You get to the point where they will allow you do your thing. When you're ready to go off the stage, you go off the stage. And
oh, really?
Yes.
So they get a time where even though you're not the main act, they can let you be on stage for as long as you want.
Yes, that is when you've been able to prove a point. Yeah. So if they know your 10 minutes on stage is witty, nobody will want to distract you.
Yes.
You know, from your hello to your good night is fun filled. You know, nobody wants to distract you.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. That's very beautiful. I could sit here all day listening to that journey because it's quite an interesting one. But we're going to go on a quick break right now. When we return, Showtime continues. Welcome back. This is still Showtime on Trust TV, and I have with me a fresh face in the comedy industry, but somebody who is very relatable, and we've been talking about his journey so far, talking about no other person but Funny Razaq. Okay, so let's still on your journey though. I want to now know about your family and friends. You said you started comedy when you were quite little, all the way since primary school. So was your family in support of your line, or did you get that Nigerian parents line of, oh no, you need to get a real job, you know?
Okay, so when I started, first of all, my parents are lovers of comedy.
Oh,
yeah, they've always, you know, there is no series, there is no edition of The Night of a Thousand Laughs that you won't find, even as at now, in my house. You know, my dad loves comedy, my mom loves, they enjoy watching comedy. So it wasn't that stressful for me. It wasn't that difficult for me to, when I said I wanted to, I didn't even tell them.
Really?
I didn't even tell them.
So how did it happen? They just saw
me.
That, oh, okay, you're funny, and that was it.
The only thing, the only objection from them was my first stage name.
Okay, what was it?
I had the first stage name, it was Alhaji Bad Guy. And they were like, no,
from the Nigerian parents' point of view,
bad guy, there is nothing good that comes out from bad. And I was giving them instances. I was like, how about I go die? He's not yet dead. How about clean the drunk? It's not like he's a drunk. How about, they said no. They said no. My dad said no. Look, they're not stopping me from doing comedy. Not at all. Do comedy, but please look for a name. Look for another name. And I was like, okay, let me look for another name. And then ever since then, they've been supportive. You know, they've been supportive. When I did my first ever event, they made sure they made their little contributions to, and then their prayers are always with me.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
So it's not like when I started, they're like, no, don't do this.
Go to your room. Don't get a job.
And most times, as the first child, it's not always easy.
Yes.
They want you to do something, you know. But aside being a comedian, I'm into computers.
Okay.
I do computer softwares and hardwares.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I do. So I was doing this. I was doing it pari passu. So it wasn't that difficult for me. So it's not like I was always meeting them to give me money to attend shows, give me money. So I had little change. When it's weekend, I'm off the house. So the only thing, they're like, don't come back late. If you know it's going to be late, they look for a place, stay, come back the next day. And I was like, so, but not like the don't come back late is that easy.
Yes,
they'll draw your ears. They are your parents. They'll draw your ears.
Of course.
You know, from day one, my dad is a very lively person. Same as my mom. They love comedy. From Night of a Thousand Laughs, from volume 1
to the final,
even down to most of the comic TV series, Fuji House of Commotion.
They love it.
They love it. They love. So we were always together. No restriction. Do you think
that maybe some of those things they watched and their liveliness inspired you, even without you knowing?
Yes. It inspired me. It inspired.
Because you grew up around that and you saw that, and it kind of got embedded into your mind that, oh, actually, I think I would like to do something like this. Oh, nice. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a very real question. Have you ever, from primary school till now, told a joke that flopped?
Yes.
What happened? How did you sort that out?
I've told a joke that flopped, that even someone who was drunk at that venue called me and said, come, forget that I'm drunk. You need to go back to your drawing board. You need to go back to your drawing board. Do this, watch. Don't you watch comedy? Don't you watch comedians? He referred me to people I already know. Go back to your drawing board and do this. Then I felt bad.
Yeah.
You know, it is not a moment to behold at all, because of all person, a drunk advising me this career I ready for, and so it wasn't funny at all.
Yeah.
And then somebody else called me, and then this, that. Now the host for that night, the MC for that night, was not like, you see, if to say I no agree play you now, if I know the
okay, that was when you were starting out. So what happened? Was it stage fright? Was it anxiety? Was it like, I don't know, was the crowd too much for you at that time, or the joke was funny to you, but it wasn't funny to others?
Now, it was two things.
Okay.
The crowd, one.
Okay.
Secondly, the joke was funny. The jokes were funny to me, but not to them. See the reason. Now, that audience, that crowd, they were not stable.
Okay, yes.
Now, I wasn't having this commanding prowess then. I didn't have a way of commanding the audience to listen to what I was saying at all. So I was just doing my thing.
Yes.
Just dishing out what I had. But they were not paying attention.
Okay.
And then the whole moment for me flopped.
Yeah.
So I feel the two persons that came to me were the persons who really paid attention to say, you try, but that means they really paid attention to what I was saying. But there's this popular saying, 1 tree cannot make a forest. So these two guys cannot give me a pass mark. So that was why they called me and then gave me this little. They said, do this, do this, do this. And then I said, okay. I went back to my drawing board for more than 3 months. I didn't go for any event at all, a comedy show, anyone. I did not. I said, let me really see how I wanted to do this thing. Okay, so I've had this little experience. Okay, let me try this, let me add this, let me do this, let me do this. So I started doing it that way. And then that same MC for that event that said, if to say I no play you now, months later, that same venue, somebody recommended me to him, but then I already changed my name, so he didn't know I was the one.
Same person.
So when I came, he now said, Alaji, Afana. No. He wasn't this lively. Yes. Yeah, he wasn't this lively. He was
like a bit sarcastic,
how you doing now? This one will come around today. We get something where we they do. I knew the point he was coming from, so I smiled. And then he said, the man now came and said, okay, this is Funny Razaq. Please, where is he meant? Funny Razaq. Now, Alaji, I know I'm asking. I said, I am Funny Razaq now. Yeah. He said, you change your name. So, the Buddha Alaji bad guy. You get to see they catch people for. Why didn't you tell me as that?
Exactly. Yes.
So I sat down. I was just looking at him. He was doing his thing, So when it was time for me to go up on stage, he was using the same energy, the same eyes, the same to introduce me on stage. I went on stage, and then it was a different. So you looked at, I said, bro, I no go lie for you. You don't improve. And then I said, I knew the reason why you gave me this energy when I came. But you shouldn't do this. If you give me, as your colleague, if you give me this, and if you give everybody who is just starting this energy, so many persons will lose the confidence. So imagine these persons were not there, and then you that is my colleague, You were unable to give me this brotherly advice. What would have happened? And then he said no, say some of these guys, everybody just feels say them funny. I said yes, everybody feels they are funny. You know, only few are ready to take it to the next stage.
Exactly.
And then
exactly.
And then,
that's so. Now I want to ask something from what you said. How do you decipher a joke that is going to be funny to the audience and not just to you? Because just like you said, the joke was funny to you apart from the confidence level. Is it okay? Maybe is it the confidence that makes the joke funnier? Or is there like, are there jokes that personally to you sound funny and then to other people it's just like blah? Okay,
first, you know, it's a process and you get to learn in every process. At every stage you get to, you learn. There are stages. So there are jokes for every stage. There are jokes for different audience. If it is a comedy show you're going to, definitely you know it's a general social gathering. It will accept this, this, and this. So all you just need to do is go to your archives, get one or two things, and then that the audience are going to relate to. It might be political. It might not be. Just sometimes you do with the current happenings. So if you have those, if you're able to get that together, you know that if you attend this show, if you attend a comedy show, you'll be able to deliver. Of course, if you're going for an event now, you're not just going to get jokes on, let's say for example, you're not just going to get jokes on marriage. You know, if marriage doesn't work, you switch immediately to another one. Hopefully that one works. When that one works, you already know the kind of audience you have.
Okay. So I know that we have run out of time, but I just want one final thing from you.
Okay.
Yes. Please, just indulge me with one spontaneous act. Just anything.
One spontaneous act? Okay, just a quick one. I traveled to a state, one of the western states. That was last week.
Okay.
I saw a popular church, a very popular church. I wouldn't mention the name of the church. I saw them dancing outside their church, throwing their pastor up and catching him. I walked to them. I was like, this one at the jubilates like this. What thing they happen? What thing they really occur now? Somebody born triplet. They said no. Is there like a proposal? They say no. So one at the jubilate, and they say their pastor, their own general overseer, win moto for alcohol competition. So I was like, who drank this alcohol? Who the pastor used? So I'm still waiting for their reply though. I've not heard from them lately.
Okay, I'm only allowed to laugh like a lady on set, right? But nah, that is not fair. Okay, that was very funny. I was not expecting that. I was expecting something. I don't even know where I thought this joke was going. But this is totally off from what I expected, and that was pretty good. Pretty good. Please, I need you to point me to the church later because I need to ask some questions as well. I need to ask who actually drank the alcohol because I mean, why you? Okay, all right. Thank you so much for being on this set, and thank you so much for making me laugh and taking me through your journey. Thank you. It's been amazing having this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
This has been Showtime on Trust TV. Of course, your #1 stop for everything entertainment, celebrity interviews, and of course, funny moments like this one that we just had. My name is Chimmeli. Join us again, same time, same station next week.